My mentor, who never went to school, Umato, taught me. I want to make the contrast from the beginning. I was from School of Psychology, and I was coming in the School of Tradition. And in psychology, as a psychologist, I have to ask the client what is wrong with the client. I have to get to the history of the client. Now I was introducing a world where I'm sitting in front of the person and I'm the one to tell the person what is wrong with the person and why the person was sitting in front of me and what the person wanted. The tasting of it is when you actually articulate this information. You get so surprised where you get this wisdom or this, because you don't have time to think. The information is rushing. And to me, this is what I was like, where am I now? What is happening to me? I mean, I've been a psychologist sitting and saying, okay, how do you feel? Listening, waiting, and all that. All of a sudden now, there's no time to think. There's no time to think where it comes from. I just have to tell the person. And once you're exhausted, this is the time to give the person to reflect also. And at the time the person talking to you, you are also reflecting.
It feels to me that in traditional healing, you have the ancestors which interprets to the healer what the situation is with someone. You see, and I think there, Jungian analysis and traditional healing are quite different, because we might, through our intuition, sense what is going on, but we don't have an ancestor or an authority telling us what it is. So therefore, our sort of approach is much more hesitant. I mean, because we don't assume to know what the ultimate reality around the condition with the client is. If we had an authority figure that could sort of tell us what that is, then we would be able to sort of, with authority, tell our client that's what's wrong with you. But we don't know what the ultimate reality is. We sort of have ideas and inklings. But in order to get to that, in our tradition, you must do that in cooperation with them. So you tell them a little bit, they say a little bit, and you sort of get to that. For me, that feels like quite a fundamental difference between the two traditions.
Yes, or I agree, I disagree. I do both.
Can I just comment on that? Perhaps it's this understanding that the unconscious is always revealing itself indirectly, where what you are saying is it's almost a direct revelation.
Yeah, but I think it's the ancestors that are sort of allowing that.
Yes,
I agree, I disagree.
The issue of Western or conventional psychotherapy versus traditional healing. With Western psychotherapy, you are guided by a pre-established theory. With traditional healing, you are not given any guidelines, but the ancestors are always there with you. They tell you even before the arrival of the client. You don't have to sit in front of the client to know that and take from what the client is saying to know that the client is suffering from this particular condition. But you know beforehand, maybe days before the client arrives, you are waiting for the client, that there is this lady with maybe even the type of a car that she's driving.
Yes.
You are shown maybe in a dream or in a vision. You are told all this information before the arrival of the client. Then as you are sitting in front of the client, you have got all the information guided by the ancestors.
not by a
pre-established
established
theory.
from somebody.
Yes, but sorry. When you say, sorry that I take the word. No, because you also generalize a little bit. Because there are different Western approaches. Huh?
Oh.
Maybe there are schools where everything is already pre-established. Huh?
Okay.
But if you read, for instance, Jung, he said, I do not know anything. Forget everything. What you learned in the books. So this is another approach. Huh?
Jung himself.
We are Jungian. You are Jungian. Yeah, we are Jungian.
You are Jungian. But Jung himself was incredibly, he had this. He could tell a person what you have cancer or you this or that. He had that, and he had a certain confidence in that. He could read from a dream where your physical problems were, you know. So the thing is that, again, you are right, Nomfundo, we are not trained to trust those whispers.
And just thinking as well, and there is like a struggle with this where sometimes you don't know if it's you just thinking for yourself or is it the ancestors that are actually communicating something to you. And this also has to go to do with the desire of what you want and how you want things to be. So you might have a dream, and maybe for instance when you just maybe tired of the process and you want to have that, and then you see a goat, but maybe a goat is for another ritual, but because you want to finish, you're like, hey, so it's that type of thing. So when is it really spiritual, or when is it just our desires? And I